Day 9 of 365 was where arrays started becoming hands-on. Yesterday was about what arrays are and why their layout matters. Today was about the first real operations I expect to perform on them: reversing, rotating, finding max and min, and tracking the second largest element. The useful shift today was realizing that these small tasks are not just warm-ups. They are where one-pass thinking, in-place updates, and edge case disciplines start becoming real habits. The first big lesson was that reversing an array is useful because it exposes a clean trade-off. I can build a second array and fill it in reverse order, or I can use 2 pointers and reverse in place. The runtime may still be linear either way, but the space cost changes. That makes reverse array problems a great early training ground because they force me to ask whether extra memory is buying enough clarity to justify itself. Another useful shift was that rotating an array by k is more than just moving elements. A naive approach might shift repeatedly and waste work. A better approach uses structure, like reversing different parts of the array, so the total work stays linear. That matters because it is the first time a very ordinary-looking array task can be solved in a noticeably better way once the structure is chosen carefully. That also made max/min problems more interesting than they first look. They are not hard because the logic is complicated. They are valuable because they teach one-pass discipline. I want to maintain the right running answer as I scan instead of doing unnecessary extra work. That sounds simple, but it is one of the most reusable habits in DSA because so many later problems depend on updating the right state as new values arrive. The same thing applies to the second largest element problem. That task is a good training problem because the answer is not just one running value anymore. I have to maintain the best and the runner-up correctly as I scan. That makes it a small but very useful lesson in state management. If I can do that clearly here, I am building the right habit for more complicated one-pass problems later. Another big lesson was how quickly edge cases show up in these operations. What if the array is empty? What if it has one element? What if all values are equal? What if k is larger than the array length? Simple tasks are actually a great place to build the edge case habit because the mistakes are easy to isolate. If I ignore them here, they will become much more expensive later in harder problems. That is why day 9 felt more valuable than a standard drill day. The operations are simple, but the habits are serious. One pass when possible. Avoid repeated shifting when structure can replace it. Choose in-place updates deliberately. Check the edge cases before trusting the implementation. Those are all real algorithm habits, even when the problem statement looks small. This also matters outside interviews. Production code is full of list-like transformations and scans. Sometimes the data structure is different, but the instincts are similar. Am I copying more than I need to? Am I rescanning unnecessarily? Am I doing repeated work that a better structure could avoid? Basic array operations are a very clean place to practice those questions before they show up in bigger code paths. Another useful shift was that these operations make implementation quality visible fast. A weak solution is often not wrong because the final answer fails. It is weak because it takes more passes, more space, or more special handling than necessary. That means basic operations are a good test of whether I am learning to prefer cleaner and more efficient structure naturally. So my main takeaway from day 9 was that basic array operations deserve more respect than they usually get. Reverse, rotate, max/min, and second largest are small problems, but they train the exact habits I want before moving into harder array questions. If I can solve these cleanly, explain the trade-offs, and handle the edge cases well, then the next array topics have a much better foundation. That is what made today useful. The drills started turning into instincts.